The transport ship cut through the black sky like a silver arrow. Inside, Captain Ryan Cross sat quietly in his seat, helmet resting on his knees. The metal walls around him hummed with energy, and a low voice from the intercom repeated one line again and again. Protect the target at all costs. Do not question your mission. Ryan had been on hundreds of missions before, battles, rescues, even assassinations, but this one felt different. He didn't know who the target was. He didn't know where they were going. He only knew that he was being sent to the alien planet Xylaria, home of the mysterious Xylarian Empire. He had heard rumors about them, tall, glowing-eyed creatures with voices that could bend metal and minds alike. But humans had made peace with them. And now Ryan was being sent there as a protector, not a soldier. The ship shook as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Blue lightning flashed outside the windows, painting the inside of the ship in cold light. The pilot didn't speak. No one did. Everyone seemed afraid to even breathe too loud. When they finally landed, Ryan stood up and looked outside. The air was greenish, thick like mist. Alien towers rose in the distance, built from crystal and stone. The sky above them shimmered with two suns. Two alien guards were waiting at the ramp. Their skin shone faintly like liquid metal, and their black armor reflected Ryan's face in small broken pieces. Captain Ryan Cross, one of them said in a calm, echoing voice. You will follow. Do not wander. Do not look into her eyes, Ryan frowned. Her eyes? The guard didn't answer. They led him through a long hallway that glowed from the floor itself. Every step Ryan took echoed like a heartbeat. Strange symbols floated in the air, glowing, moving letters he couldn't understand. At the end of the hall, a door opened with a slow hiss. Inside was a huge room with a glass roof showing the twin suns above. And in the center of that light stood Princess Lyra. Ryan froze. She looked almost human. Tall, slender, silver hair falling over her shoulders like threads of moonlight. But her skin had a faint glow in her eyes. Her eyes were not normal. They were deep blue like an ocean with something alive moving underneath. Welcome, Captain, she said softly. Her voice smooth but strange, almost like two voices speaking together. You have come a long way to stand in front of me. Ryan saluted out of habit. I was told to protect you, Your Highness. No questions asked. Lyra smiled gently. Good, because some answers would break your mind. He wasn't sure if she was joking or serious. Hours passed as Ryan was shown his quarters inside the palace. The halls were quiet, too quiet. Every corner had a silver orb floating in the air, scanning everything silently. Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. That night, he decided to record a quick report for Earth Command. He spoke into his wrist communicator. Captain Cross reporting. Landed safely on Xylaria. Target secured. Locals are... He stopped. A faint whisper came through the air vents, a voice soft and slow. It was Princess Lyra's voice, but it was coming from somewhere above his room. He stepped out quietly and followed the sound through the empty corridor. The light from the floor dimmed as he walked, like the palace itself was breathing. He turned a corner and saw her, Princess Lyra, standing in front of a mirror, alone. Her reflection didn't move with her. She spoke softly to it. Not yet, she said. He doesn't know what we are. Ryan froze behind the wall, heart pounding. The reflection blinked, once, twice, and then turned its head toward him. He stumbled backward. The whispering stopped. Lyra looked up sharply. Captain? He straightened, pretending to look calm. Just checking the security halls, Your Highness. She smiled again, that same calm, empty smile. Good soldier, she said softly. You will need to be brave. Ryan nodded, but his pulse raced. As he walked back to his quarters, he checked his wrist communicator again, but the recording was gone. Deleted. The system showed, access denied. He stared at the blank screen. Something was wrong. He could feel it in his bones. The mission wasn't just to protect the princess. There was something else, something no one told him. Outside his window, lightning cracked across the alien sky, and for a moment he saw a dark shadow move through the clouds. Long, thin, and fast, like a creature watching the palace from above. Ryan whispered to himself, "What have they sent me into?" And somewhere in the palace, the mirror in Princess Lyra's room rippled, like water disturbed by an unseen hand. Morning came with a strange silence. The twin suns rose behind the crystal towers, covering the palace in a silver glow. But inside, the air felt cold. Too cold for light to warm it. Captain Ryan Cross hadn't slept all night. The image of Princess Lyra's reflection moving on its own kept replaying in his mind. He tried to tell himself it was a trick of the light, or stress from the mission. But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. When he stepped into the corridor, 2 alien guards were already waiting. "The princess wishes to see you," one said, his eyes unreadable. Ryan followed them through the glowing halls. As he walked, he noticed the floating silver orbs again. They seemed to follow his every move, like mechanical eyes studying him. The guard stopped at a large door made of black glass. It slid open with a slow hiss. Inside was a garden, but not a normal one. The trees had crystal leaves that shimmered with light, and small floating creatures buzzed softly between them. The air smelled like rain and metal. Princess Lyra stood near a fountain made of blue stone. Her reflection rippled in the water, calm, perfect, almost too perfect. "Good morning, Captain," she said with a small smile. "You look tired." Ryan kept his face straight. "Couldn't sleep? I understand," she said softly. "This planet is not kind to human minds." He hesitated, then asked, "Last night, were you in the East Hall?" Lyra turned slowly, her blue eyes glowing brighter for a moment. "Why do you ask?" "I thought I heard you speaking," Ryan said carefully. "To someone." A long silence. Then she smiled again, and too calm. "I talk to many things, Captain. Some of them are not alive." Before he could ask what she meant, a loud alarm echoed through the palace. The sky outside turned red. Guards ran past them, shouting in their alien language. "What's happening?" Ryan demanded. "An intruder," Lyra said, her face pale. "Something broke through the energy field." Ryan drew his weapon and rushed toward the balcony. From above, he saw dark shapes flying. Metallic drones shaped like insects, each glowing with a red core. They shot blue fire toward the palace walls. "Stay down," Ryan shouted as an explosion shook the air. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her behind a pillar as fire lit up the garden. When the smoke cleared, one drone crashed nearby, its wings broken. Ryan kicked it over and aimed his gun, but the drone wasn't empty. Inside it was a strange black liquid moving like it was alive. Lyra stepped closer, eyes wide. "No, it's too soon," she whispered. "They found me." "Who found you?" Ryan asked. Before she could answer, the black liquid shot upward, a sharp needle of metal flying straight at her. Ryan jumped in front of her, blasting it midair. The shock threw them both to the ground. He felt something warm on his arm. Blood, but not his. He turned and froze. Lyra's shoulder was cut open, and silver blood was running down her skin, shining like mercury. Ryan's voice trembled. "You're bleeding metal." Lyra looked at him sadly. "You were never meant to see this. Are you a machine?" "No," she said quietly. "Not fully." Ryan stared at her, confused and angry. "What are you then?" She looked away. "A secret. One they built to protect the truth." The alarm stopped. The air fell silent again, heavy like before a storm. Ryan sat beside her, still holding his gun. His mind raced. Everything about this mission suddenly made sense. The silence, the hidden eyes, the erased recordings. Earth hadn't sent him here to protect the princess. They sent him here to watch her. "Tell me the truth, Lyra," he said finally. "Who are you?" She touched the wound on her shoulder. The silver liquid slowly pulled itself back into her skin, sealing the cut like it had never happened. Then she looked at him, eyes glowing brighter than ever. "I am not the real princess," she whispered. "I was made to replace her," Ryan blinked. "Replace her?" "She disappeared a year ago," Lyra said softly. "I was created as her image, her copy, so the Empire wouldn't fall apart. They called me the Echo. I was never meant to live, only to act." He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Then where's the real one?" Lyra turned her eyes to the burning sky. "Gone or hiding. But they're looking for her. And for me." Ryan looked down at his communicator, still showing access denied. No contact. No backup, no orders. He was alone. Lyra stood up slowly. "If they find me, they will destroy both worlds," she said. "Because the truth about us is something neither humans nor Xylarians are ready to face." Ryan's pulse quickened. What truth? She looked at him with a sadness that felt older than time. That we are not enemies, she whispered. We are the same creation, born from the same stars. Before Ryan could respond, lightning split the sky again. The palace walls shook and a deep voice echoed through the air, mechanical and cold. Subject echo located. Prepare for elimination. Lyra's eyes widened. They've come. Ryan lifted his gun, ready to fight. Then they'll have to go through me first. The reflection in the fountain shimmered again, and for a split second it smiled. But Lyra did not. The sky over Xylaria was no longer blue. It burned red with silent storms, and the great palace that once glowed with peace now felt like a cage made of light. Captain Ryan Cross stood at the balcony, his armor cracked and dusty. He hadn't slept in 2 days. Every night he saw those metal drones flying beyond the clouds, searching, hunting. Inside the room, Princess Lyra, or maybe not the real Lyra, sat by the window, her silver hair glowing faintly. The wound on her shoulder had healed completely. Not even a scar remained. Ryan kept watching her reflection in the glass. This time it moved with her, normal, silent, innocent. But he could still feel something strange, something hiding deep beneath her calm face. You haven't said a word since last night, she said softly. He turned around. I'm trying to understand who you really are. I already told you, she whispered. I am a copy, a creation. The real princess disappeared. I was made to take her place. Ryan's jaw tightened. You bleed silver, heal like a machine, and yet you think, feel, and dream. That's not a copy, Lyra, that's life. Her lips curved into a small, sad smile. You speak like a human who believes in souls. I do, Ryan said. Even if I'm not sure we still have them. Before she could answer, a loud noise came from the hallway. Heavy boots, alien voices shouting. Ryan grabbed his weapon and motioned her to stay quiet. He peeked through the door. 2 alien guards stood there, talking in low tones. He could only understand a few words through his translator. Earth Fleet. Arrived. Orders to eliminate the Echo. Ryan's blood went cold. Earth Fleet? His people? He rushed back to Lyra. We need to go, now. Her eyes widened. Why? Because my own people just declared you a target. Lyra froze, her expression unreadable. I told you, Captain. They don't want to protect me. They want to erase what I am. Ryan led her through hidden corridors he'd memorized during his stay. The palace's lights flickered red, warning signals echoing through the halls. As they ran, the floor under them shook violently. Outside, through the glass walls, Ryan saw Earth's battleships entering orbit. Dark gray giants surrounded by fire. Missiles streaked through the alien sky like falling stars. They're bombing the surface, Ryan shouted. Lyra looked up, tears forming in her glowing eyes. So this is how peace ends. They reached a hidden hangar filled with small ships. Ryan picked the fastest one, a black shuttle built for stealth. Get in, he said. She hesitated. You'll be branded a traitor. He gave a short, grim laugh. I think it's too late for loyalty. The shuttle engines roared and the ship shot into the sky, slipping through a gap between alien and human fire. Ryan pulled the controls hard, dodging explosions. For a moment, the sky turned into chaos, blue laser beams from Xylaria and red plasma from Earth clashing like lightning storms. Lyra looked at him. Why are you doing this? He didn't look back. Because I've seen enough lies to last a lifetime. After hours of silent flight, they reached the dark side of the planet. Endless night, no suns, no sound. The stars above looked closer here, brighter like they were watching. Ryan landed the shuttle near a mountain of black glass. The air outside was still cold, filled with quiet energy. This place is forbidden, Lyra whispered. No living thing comes here. Perfect place to hide, Ryan said. But as they stepped outside, he felt something, a vibration in the air, almost like a heartbeat coming from the ground. Lyra placed her hand on the glass rock. It started to glow beneath her touch, lines of blue light spreading outward like veins. This is where I was born, she said softly. Ryan stared in shock. Here in this mountain? She nodded. This is the core of creation. It's where the Xylarian Empire built life, biological and artificial. They use the same code to make humans, he frowned. What are you talking about? She turned to him, her voice trembling. Humans and Xylarians were both made by the same ancient AI. The architect. You were never supposed to know. The architect wanted both species to stay apart, to evolve separately. But when humans reached the stars, the secret was at risk. Ryan felt his heart pound. So Earth knows? Yes, she said. That's why they fear me. I carry the original code inside me, the power to awaken the architect again. Ryan took a step back, staring at her glowing eyes. If that's true, you could destroy both worlds, she shook her head. Or save them. Before he could speak, his communicator suddenly buzzed. Static first, then a familiar voice. Captain Cross, this is Earth Command. You are ordered to surrender the alien clone immediately. Failure to comply will be considered treason. Ryan looked at Lyra. She looked back, calm but scared. He switched off the communicator. They'll have to find us first. A distant rumble echoed from above, the sound of engines. Lyra's eyes widened. They already have. Ryan looked up. Through the dark clouds, lights descended, Earth's ships closing in fast. He gripped his weapon, standing in front of her. If they want you, he said quietly, they'll have to go through me. Lyra touched his arm gently. You're fighting the wrong war, Ryan. He met her eyes. Maybe, but I'd rather fight for what feels right than die for another lie. As the ship surrounded the mountain, blue light began to rise from the glass ground, wrapping Lyra in a soft glow. She looked almost divine. Ryan realized then she wasn't just a machine or a clone. She was becoming something new, and maybe so was he. The night side of Xylaria was burning. Flames rose across the horizon like red ribbons tearing through the dark. Earth ships floated above the sky like cold metal gods, raining fire upon the alien world they once called an ally. Captain Ryan Cross sat in the pilot's seat of the stolen shuttle, hands tight on the controls. Beside him, Princess Lyra, or the Echo as she called herself, watched the stars through the glass. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, reflecting the explosions above. Your people don't hesitate, she said softly. They came to kill without warning. Ryan's jaw clenched. That's not my people. That's command. They don't see what I see. What do you see, Captain? He looked at her. Someone who shouldn't have to die for a secret. The ship shook as another blast hit near their path. Ryan turned sharply, dodging a beam of red plasma that sliced through the clouds. The engines roared, alarms screamed, and the air inside filled with heat. Hold on, Ryan shouted. He pushed the shuttle upward, bursting through the thick green atmosphere into open space. The stars hit their eyes like diamonds, but peace lasted only a second. On the radar, 3 Earth fighters locked onto them. Unauthorized vessel. A robotic voice came through the comms. Surrender or be destroyed. Ryan muted the channel. Not today. He flipped the shuttle upside down and sent it spinning between debris. The enemy ships followed, firing bright blue shots that tore across the dark. Lyra closed her eyes and placed her hand on the ship's console. The lights around her fingers began to pulse. What are you doing? Ryan asked. Helping you fly faster, she said quietly. I can speak to machines. The engines screamed louder, glowing bright white. The shuttle shot forward like a lightning bolt. Within seconds, the enemy signals vanished from the radar. Ryan let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. He turned to her. You saved us, Lyra smiled faintly. You saved me first. For a moment, everything was silent except the hum of the ship. But then the communicator flickered back on, and a voice Ryan knew too well spoke through static. Captain Cross, this is Admiral Harlan. You've disobeyed direct orders. Return the target now or your entire record will be erased. You will no longer exist. Ryan's chest tightened. Harlan had trained him, treated him like a son. Hearing his voice felt like a knife twisting in his gut. Sir, Ryan said slowly, the princess isn't a threat. She's an experiment, Harlan's voice thundered. Do you have any idea what she is? That thing carries the code that can erase humanity in a second. Bring her in now. Ryan looked at Lyra. She was staring down, silent. I can't do that, Ryan said. Then you're a traitor, Harlan growled. And traitors burn. The transmission cut off. The radar immediately lit up again. Dozens of ships closing in fast. Ryan's voice was low, steady. They're coming. Lyra turned to him, calm but sad. Then we have nowhere left to run. He looked at her. We'll find somewhere. She shook her head slowly. You don't understand. They won't stop until one of us is gone. He reached over and touched her hand gently. Then we make sure it's not you. The shuttle dived into the shadow of a nearby moon. Dark, silent, covered in craters. They hid in its orbit. Engines off, lights dimmed. The only sound was their breathing. Lyra spoke softly. When they built me, they used part of the real princess's DNA. But they also gave me something new. A link to the old architect's code. I can feel it growing inside me like a storm waiting to break. Ryan stared at her. Can you control it? I think so, she whispered. But if I use it, I don't know what I'll become. He leaned back, looking at the endless stars. Maybe something better than both of us. She smiled sadly. Or something worse. Before Ryan could answer, a sharp alarm went off. A massive shadow moved across the moon's surface. A warship larger than anything Ryan had ever seen. Its hull was black, covered in glowing alien markings. That's not an Earth ship, Ryan muttered. Lyra's face turned pale. No, it's Xylarian, my people. A voice echoed through the comms. Cold, elegant, and familiar. Echo Lyra. It said, you were never meant to leave. Return now, or we will destroy your protector. Ryan looked at her in confusion. They're threatening me? Lyra's eyes filled with tears. No, they're threatening both of us. The ship's commander is my twin. Your twin? Yes, she whispered. The real Princess Lyra. The warship's lights flared red, locking onto their shuttle. Ryan gripped the controls. So she's alive, Lyra nodded slowly. Alive. And coming for me. The warship fired a beam that cut through the moon's surface, shaking the ground beneath them. Ryan powered up the engines. Then we fight. Lyra looked at him, fear and sorrow in her glowing eyes. You don't understand, Ryan. She doesn't want to capture me. Then what? She wants to erase me. Completely. The next explosion hit nearby and the shuttle lurched violently. Outside, the stars twisted as light and shadow danced across the dark sky. Ryan's heart pounded. He had escaped Earth's betrayal, only to face a greater one, from the one person Lyra was meant to replace. As the shuttle spun into the void, her voice trembled beside him. My twin believes she is the only one worthy to live. But she doesn't know. Ryan glanced at her. Doesn't know what? That I'm starting to feel something she never could. The ship drifted into deep space, alone, hunted by two worlds. And for the first time, Ryan realized this mission was no longer about protection. It was about choosing who deserved to exist. The stars burned red that night. The stolen shuttle drifted silently through the dark, hiding between fragments of shattered moons. Captain Ryan Cross stared at the radar. One blinking dot followed them everywhere. The Xylarian warship. She's still behind us, he said quietly. Beside him, Lyra, the Echo, sat with her hands folded in her lap. Her blue eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the control lights. She won't stop. She was made to finish what I began. Ryan frowned. You mean the real princess? Lyra nodded slowly. The true heir of Xylaria, my twin. The one I was built to replace. She carries everything I was meant to be, except a soul. Ryan didn't understand, not completely, but he could see the pain in her face, a sadness that no machine should feel. She will come soon, Lyra whispered. And when she does, only one of us will leave. They didn't have to wait long. A flash of blue light filled the cockpit. A massive ship appeared in front of them, blocking the stars. It wasn't made of metal. It looked alive, its surface moving like skin, pulsing with light. A voice echoed through the ship's speakers, soft and smooth but cold. Echo Lyra, it said. Return what was stolen. Your existence is an error. Ryan gripped the controls. Who are you? The voice laughed gently, almost human. I am Lyra, the original. You're protecting a shadow. Ryan's stomach twisted. The voice sounded calm, perfect, but empty. The shuttle shuddered as a beam of blue light pulled them toward the warship. There was no point fighting it. They were caught. When the light faded, they found themselves standing inside a vast chamber. The walls were made of dark glass and energy moved through it like veins under skin. At the far end stood the real Princess Lyra. She looked exactly like the Echo. Same silver hair, same glowing eyes, but colder. Her expression had no warmth, no emotion, only control. So this is my reflection, the real Lyra said. The copy that tried to live. The Echo stepped forward. I didn't try to live. I just didn't want to die. The real princess smiled faintly. And yet you will. Ryan moved between them. You don't have to do this. The real Lyra tilted her head slightly, studying him. Ah, the human protector. I know you. The one who defied Earth for her. Ryan said nothing. You risked your life for a fabrication, she said softly. Does she tell you the truth about what she carries inside? Ryan looked at the echo. What is she talking about? The real princess raised her hand. Blue light shimmered around her fingers. She carries the architect's seed, the code to awaken the ancient machine that built our species. If that code spreads, humanity will die. Your world will burn before dawn. Ryan stared at the echo. Is that true? Tears glimmered in her glowing eyes. I didn't choose it. They put it in me before I was born. I can't remove it. The real Lyra stepped closer, eyes cold. Then you must be erased. She lifted her hand again, forming a sphere of light, pure energy. Ryan aimed his weapon, but before he could fire, the real Lyra flicked her fingers and the gun dissolved into dust. You are fragile, human, she said quietly. You should never have been part of this. Ryan's chest burned with anger. Maybe not. But if you think I'll let you kill her, you don't understand humans. He rushed forward, tackling the real princess. The chamber flashed with blue light as energy rippled around them. The impact threw him backward. His skin felt like it was burning from the inside. The real Lyra stood unharmed. You can't stop me, she said, stepping closer to the echo. You were built to protect me, not replace me. The echo looked up, her face calm but fierce. Maybe, but I learned something you never did. What's that? The real one asked. To feel. In an instant, the echo's eyes turned white. A shockwave of silver energy burst from her body, sending the real Lyra crashing into the glass wall. The entire chamber shook. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Ryan pushed himself up, dizzy.
Lyra, stop!
You'll destroy the ship. The echo looked at him, tears streaming down her silver skin. If I don't, she'll kill you. She'll kill everyone. The real princess stood, her face cracked with glowing blue lines. You're no savior. You're a virus. She raised her hand, sending a beam of light straight at Ryan. The echo screamed, throwing herself in front of him. The beam hit her chest and everything went silent. For a moment, there was only light. Then she fell into Ryan's arms. Her body flickered like fading stars. Lyra, stay with me, he shouted. She touched his face, her hand trembling. Don't let her win. Then her eyes closed and she went still. The real Lyra stared at them, emotionless. The error is gone. The code will return to me now. But before she could move, the echo's body began to glow again. Brighter, whiter, stronger. The air filled with a deep hum like the sound of a heartbeat made of thunder. Ryan stepped back, shielding his eyes. The light from the echo rose upward, forming a shape, human, but made of pure energy. A voice echoed through the chamber, not Lyra's voice, but something greater. I am the architect. My children fight in my name. That ends now. The real Lyra fell to her knees, her glowing crown flickering. No, impossible. The light pulsed, brighter and brighter, filling the entire ship. Ryan could only stare in awe as the figure turned its gaze to him. Human and machine, it said. Two halves of one creation. The choice must be made. Then everything went white. Silence. The kind that feels too heavy to breathe in. When Captain Ryan Cross opened his eyes, everything around him shimmered like broken glass suspended in air. He wasn't on the alien warship anymore. He was floating in a space filled with glowing dust and endless light. His hands glowed faintly blue. His veins pulsed with silver light beneath his skin. What happened? He whispered. A soft voice echoed through the emptiness, and a voice he knew. Ryan. He turned, and there she was, Lyra, but not as she was before. She was made of light, her outline flickering softly. Her silver hair flowed like waves of starlight. Lyra, he said, reaching out. His hand passed through her. I don't have much time, she said. The architect's energy is breaking me apart. Ryan shook his head. You can't disappear, not now. We can stop her, your twin, the real princess. We can still fix this. Lyra smiled sadly. She's not the problem anymore, he frowned. What do you mean? The architect didn't vanish. It woke up inside you, Ryan's heart skipped. Inside me? Yes, she whispered. When the light hit you, part of its code merged with your human DNA. You're connected to every machine, every ship, every weapon across both empires. That's why you're still alive. Ryan stared down at his hands. Tiny sparks of blue light flickered beneath his skin like tiny circuits. I don't understand any of this. You don't have to, she said softly. You just have to survive long enough to make a choice. Before he could ask, the world around them shattered. The floating lights vanished. He gasped and found himself back inside the shuttle. The alarm screamed. Flames danced across the control panels. The ship was spinning through space, torn apart. Lyra's voice echoed faintly from the ship's speakers. Ryan, you have to move. They're coming. Who? He shouted. The real princess. And Earth. Ryan forced himself to the controls, coughing through the smoke. He saw it then. 2 fleets in the distance. One belonged to Earth, gray and sharp. The other to Xylaria, blue and curved. They were facing each other, ready for war. No, Ryan muttered. Not again. He tried to steer, but the shuttle barely responded. The controls moved on their own, glowing under his touch. It was like the ship was reading his thoughts. Lyra, he said. You said I'm linked to the machines. Can I stop them? You can, her voice whispered faintly. But if you use that power, it will burn your human body. You won't survive, he laughed bitterly. Figures. The universe always gives me the hard way out. She smiled through the static. That's what makes you human. Outside, the first shots were fired. Blue plasma streaked through the void, colliding with red beams. Explosions lit up the stars. The war had begun. Ryan gritted his teeth and placed both hands on the console. If I can stop this war, then that's what I'll do. Ryan, wait, it was too late. The moment his palms touched the glowing glass, light exploded through the cockpit. The shuttle stopped spinning. Time seemed to slow. Ryan's mind expanded. He saw everything. Ships, soldiers, satellites, connected by threads of energy. He could feel their fear, their confusion, their hatred. And at the center of it all, the real Princess Lyra, commanding her warship like a goddess of death. Her voice thundered through his mind. You shouldn't exist, human. You carry what belongs to the architect. Return it! Ryan's voice echoed through every radio, every frequency. No, I carry what's left of her. He sent out a pulse, a wave of light that spread across the battlefield. One by one, the engines of every ship flickered, then stopped. The guns went silent. Missiles froze mid-flight. On both sides, commanders shouted in panic, "What's happening?" "Our systems, they're offline. We've lost control." Ryan felt pain tear through his body. His veins glowed brighter, turning his skin translucent. "Lyra, I can't hold it." Her voice came soft as wind. "Don't fight it. Let it guide you." He could see her now, her spirit standing beside him in the cockpit, hand glowing. "You're not alone, Ryan." The pain faded. Their light began to merge, his blue with her silver, until the entire ship glowed like a star. Far away, the real Princess Lyra watched in horror. No, that's impossible," she screamed. Her ship's systems melted down as the architect's pulse spread. The war engines shut down, weapons dissolved, and the stars fell quiet. Ryan's voice echoed across every radio in both fleets. This war is over. For a moment there was peace. Deep, infinite peace. Then his body collapsed forward, glowing cracks running across his skin like glass breaking. Lyra's light surrounded him, trying to hold him together. "Stay with me," she whispered. "You promised." He looked at her weakly. "Guess I'm not good at promises." Tears of silver fell from her glowing eyes. "You are more human than anyone I've ever known." He smiled faintly. "And you're more alive than any human I've met." Then his body turned into light, merging with hers completely. A wave of calm spread across the stars. The fleets began to pull back. Soldiers fell silent. From the blackness of space, a voice whispered through every channel, half human, half alien. Both one and the same. "We are the bridge between worlds. Remember us?" The light faded. The shuttle was gone. The stars were still, but deep in the quiet, a single spark of blue drifted between the stars, moving toward the horizon, where light never dies. Space was quiet again. After the great battle, the stars returned to their calm rhythm, bright and distant, watching from above like silent witnesses. But silence did not mean peace. Not yet. Fragments of broken ships drifted across the dark sky, their lights flickering like dying candles. The war was over, yes, but no one really understood how it ended. The fleets of Earth and Xylaria had both gone dark at the same moment. Their weapons turned to dust, their systems dead. And in the middle of that silence, something had disappeared. Captain Ryan Cross and Princess Lyra. Some said their ship exploded in the final light. Others whispered that they ascended into something greater. No one knew the truth. A week later, in a quiet orbit near a blue gas giant, a single drone floated through the wreckage, scanning for survivors. Its sensors picked up faint energy, something alive but not human. The drone's cameras turned slowly. There, in the middle of the void, a faint blue glow pulsed like a heartbeat. It moved. It spoke not with words when with thought. We are still here. The signal spread like ripples across the galaxy, carried on every frequency, reaching every ship and station. Across the stars, humans and aliens paused, listening. The voice was calm, warm, and familiar. Do not fear the silence. The architect sleeps again. We have made our choice. In the space between light and darkness, where no ship could fly, Ryan opened his eyes. He wasn't breathing, but he was alive. His body no longer felt heavy. Instead of flesh, he was made of something brighter, softer, like energy shaped into human form. Around him floated millions of silver fragments, all glowing faintly. They weren't debris. They were memories, pieces of ships, lives, and voices. And beside him stood Lyra. Her form was light too, but gentler, like moonlight in motion. When she smiled, the whole space around her shimmered. Where are we? Ryan asked softly. Between worlds, she said. The architect's core. It's where new life begins. Ryan looked down at his hands, transparent, blue, shining. So I'm dead? Lyra smiled. No, you've just changed. He let out a quiet laugh. I was never good with change. She stepped closer, her light brushing against his. You are now part of both worlds. You can feel them, can't you? Ryan closed his eyes. He could. He felt the heartbeat of Earth, the pulse of its oceans, the noise of cities rebuilding. And he felt Xyleria, glowing forests, crystal towers, alien children looking up at the stars without fear for the first time. It was all connected. Through him, through her. They're rebuilding, he whispered. Yes, she said. Because of you. He looked at her, shaking his head. No, because of us. In the far distance, a giant sphere of light began to form. Slow and quiet, like dawn breaking after eternal night. It pulsed softly, and from it came the deep voice of the architect itself. The bridge is complete. The war is ended. The balance restored. Lyra bowed her head. What will happen to us? The voice answered. You will remain as guardians and watchers between stars. Protectors of harmony. The first of the unified, Ryan smiled faintly. So we're, what, cosmic babysitters now? Lyra laughed, and the sound was like music made of light. You could say that. He turned to her, the stars reflecting in his glowing eyes. You know, I never thought my mission would end like this. What did you think? He smiled. That I'd protect a princess, not become one with her. Lyra touched his hand, her energy warm against his. You didn't protect me, Ryan. You saved me. You saved both of us. Their light slowly merged, blue and silver twisting together, glowing brighter. The fragments around them began to orbit in a slow, gentle dance, forming a ring of light that stretched across the stars. It became known as the Halo of Peace. Years passed. Humans and Xylerians built new cities together. The stories of the war became legends, and the name Ryan Cross became something sacred. The soldier who defied both empires to protect life. Children looked up at the sky and pointed at the glowing ring of light that circled two suns. Look, they'd say, that's where the Guardian lives. Sometimes, when the nights were quiet, travelers near the edge of space heard faint whispers through their radios. A calm male voice and a soft female one, speaking like a dream. Do you hear it? Yes, it's beautiful. Then a soft laugh. You always say that. Because it's always true. And far beyond where the light of no sun could reach, two forms floated together, one of blue, one of silver, side by side, watching over the galaxies in eternal stillness. Ryan turned his gaze toward the horizon, where stars were being born. Think they'll remember us? He asked quietly. Lyra looked at him and smiled. They already do. Their lights intertwined one last time, rising like dawn over the endless dark. Two souls. One promise forever.